Hey guys, this is going to be a pretty short video. I just want to check out a lavalier mic that I bought for my Canon Vixia HFR 600 video camera. And I'm primarily doing this just because I wanted to see what the difference is between the automatic sound that comes out of the camera's mics and putting a lavalier mic on it and seeing what that sounds like. Both times we're going to leave the camera mic setting in auto gain mode, and then for a third demonstration we're going to do a manual adjustment of the gain on the camera itself. Now, even though Canon's manuals don't really cover this at all, it's a feature available in most of the Vixias, beginning with the R600 and moving up from there. So we're going to give this a shot, and the mic that we're going to use for this little demonstration here is a Boya BY-M1 that I bought on Amazon. I think I paid maybe 17 bucks for this. The important feature about the mic is that it has its own built-in battery. And you've got to have this when you're working with a camcorder, because camcorders typically do not supply the bias voltage or what's called plug-in power back to the microphone. So if you think you can just go take a computer mic and plug it into your little camcorder, it's not going to work, because it's not going to have that low voltage, usually 1.5 volts to maybe 5 volts worth of bias power going back onto the microphone. Now, this little mic has also got a switch on it, and I'll show you this a little later, where you can turn the battery power off or on. You would turn the battery power off if you're plugging it into something like a laptop or a desktop or a smartphone, because all of those typically supply that low voltage that the little electret condenser mics need. But, like I said, your camcorders don't do that, so that's when the little battery power thing comes into play. It's also important because you don't want to buy a microphone for a camcorder unless it's either a dynamic mic, in other words it doesn't need battery power period, or it has its own little baby battery supply. The other thing you can get into is phantom power, but that's usually on really high grade equipment, and you don't typically want to mess around with the 48 volts going back into a condenser mic unless you really know what you're doing. So, you know, something like this, something like the Boya microphone, which I've got it on the floor right now. It's got like 20 feet of wire to it, so it's pretty ridiculous. You could probably film from, well, 20 feet away, which is like across the hall or across the living room or something like that. And that's actually pretty cool. It kind of saves you from having a wireless system. So anyway, this is all being done right now with the setting for the audio mics on the camera, and it's done in automatic mode. So we're going to switch it around, and we're going to start out with the Boya mic also in the automatic mode, and then we'll see if we can make a difference in the sound by adjusting the levels manually. Here we go. And we're back, and now as you see I have the Boya mic hooked up and it's going into the camera on automatic mode. Now already I can watch the levels on this thing and they're peaking. I mean, they're just hitting the 0 dB mark almost every time, and I don't like recording audio at that kind of a hot level like that, because it gives you absolutely no room to play with. So any little distortion that comes up will probably be magnified. So let's see how this sounds. And again, we're in fully automatic mode with the lavalier mic plugged in. You can see it's sitting here right on my fancy t-shirt. So now we're going to try adjusting the levels. Now, I took a look at the levels earlier, and I was actually taking them all the way down to I guess you'd call it maybe 40% or something like that, or minus, I don't know what it is. It's a scale on the input, And that was a significant drop from what was indicated by the automatic setting. So here we go, we're going to reset this and we'll do the manual setting of the audio level going into the camera with the lavalier mic. Hang on. All right, and we're back one more time. This time we have the level manually set on the audio, and it's all the way down to 36, which is a huge drop from what would be the suggested audio level. So I can see that we're just probably about maybe 3 dB below the 0 mark on the audio meter that I'm looking at on the camera's viewfinder. I have no idea how that's going to work out, but we're going to see how well it does. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll set it down even lower, because I'm not even sure that this is low enough. And hello again. And this time I ran it down to 30. Looking at the peaks right now, I think this looks probably about right, but I have no idea, because Canon doesn't really tell you anything about what the audio meter is doing there. And so I don't know if it's actually, designed to automatically adjust for the peak levels, or what it's trying to do, if it's just trying to be a visual thing. But we'll see. We're down at 30 now instead of 36. So we'll find out what the audio quality is on each one of these. And that will hopefully conclude my video, and we'll see what happens. If I need to come back and tweak it one more time, I will. But now you have 3 different examples of, or actually 4 different examples of the audio. So you've got automatic from the camera, you've got automatic for the plug-in lavalier mic, and then you have manual set at about 36 on the scale, and then you have manual set at 30 on the scale. So see you later, guys, and maybe I'll wrap it up later with a little conclusion for you. Let's talk a little bit more about the mic itself. I wanted to show you the battery compartment. Let's try to get a close-up of it right here. Focus, 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 focus. Focus Dominocus, there we go. All right, so you can see that it's got an on and off switch, right? Now, if I turn the off and on switch to off, we're going to cut the battery power. Guess what? All the sound goes away. Amazing how that works, right? So all it is just like I said, this is a little tiny battery too. I think it's an LR44 that's in this box. And that's all you really need. I mean, that's all it needs is for plug-in power. Now, like I said, the microphone comes with a 20-foot cable, which is, I mean, this is just ridiculous. I would be far more comfortable working with something that was, in the 10-foot range or something like that, but oh well. Other accessories that come with it are a little windscreen filter. So, if you're outdoors, you put the windscreen filter on. It's not a pop filter. It's not for, vocal popping, because my voice is coming out here. The mic is right there. And that's going to have absolutely no effect on my voice, but it will have an effect if you're outside and there's a breeze or something like that and it's blowing by. All in all, this seems to be like a fairly quality piece. This little tube that the battery comes in and with the circuitry inside of it is pretty much, I think, machined aluminum, and it screws apart. It's got a nice little metal clip on it. Only thing I'd like to see is that I'm a little bit skeptical about how well the lavalier clip is going to hold up, because while it's a metal piece that's actually clipping onto my shirt there, the piece that holds on to the lavalier itself is plastic. So one thing you seriously do not want to be doing with that is taking that little metal clip on and off, because you'll probably stress the plastic on it. But all in all, yeah, for 17 bucks, I mean, this is a pretty huge deal. And the reason I got it was because it had mostly 4.5 star to 5-star reviews. It was interesting. Everybody that complained about it either didn't understand what the purpose of the mic was and they bought it for something else, or dumb enough they couldn't open up the battery compartment. They couldn't figure out that it unscrews and that one side is the threaded side, male threaded side, one side is the female threaded side. I didn't have any problem getting into it because I know how to unscrew things. But, you know, that's where a lot of those negative reviews came from. Anyway, I hope this helped you. Probably a little longer than you really wanted to have, but oh well. And, you know, one of the things I'll say also in closing is that when you're dealing with video and audio editing software, it's always good to make sure that you've got the headroom to boost a signal rather than cut it back. Because if you're trying to cut back a too hot signal, you end up losing something in the process. And it's either going to be that you are distorting at the high levels, or what you're going to do is lose the full range of the vocals or something like that. So a little better if you have to boost a signal slightly than if you have to cut a signal a whole lot. So that's just my personal experience, being a musician type, as you can see from a few guitars back here. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination somebody who goes out there and shoots professional videos or does YouTube for a living or anything like that, but I do occasionally come across little things that I think other people might want to know about, so that's why this video is here. Hope you like it, and I will put a link to this particular microphone down below. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. I do delete really nasty comments, you know, like somebody saying, "Hey man, fuck you because you posting about cheap Chinese shit." I've gotten that before. So that kind of a comment is going to be deleted. But anything else, I can pretty much handle the criticism. Talk to you later, and have a good COVID-free rest of your life.